Part 40. Martial Arts, Become Invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 391. Xiao Zhantian. It's Xiao Zhantian, the traitor who broke into the capital. Shhh, shut up, do you want your life? How dare you call him a traitor? Daliang will soon belong to Xiao Zhantian, and he will soon be the new emperor of Daliang. Seeing Xiao Zhantian's appearance, the defenders in the north of Daliang cleared away the panic. Although they had never seen Xiao Zhantian, they had heard various legends about Xiao Zhantian and knew that this was a statue of the unity of heaven and man. The supreme power. As long as Xiao Zhantian is here, they have nothing to fear. The Dian army stood on horseback, and the soldiers whispered to each other, and they were all afraid. Obviously, they have also heard of the legend of Xiao Zhantian. He knew his strength. The general who led Dian frowned, and anger rose in his heart. They had already invaded the territory of Daliang, and they would soon be able to break through the city and plunder the wealth. Victory was right in front of them. How could he ask them to retreat now? Can you be willing? General, what should I do? A soldier asked nervously. General, we'd better retreat. We can't afford to offend Xiao Zhantian. Yes, he is a strong man who combines nature and man, and we are no match for him. The soldiers all trembled in their hearts and urged the general to retreat. But the Yan general was unwilling. He clenched his fists, and his nails were already dug into his flesh. With a bang, the Yan army suddenly stood up and moved towards Xiao Zhantian yelled, Xiao Zhantian, I am in awe of your strength, but this is a war between two countries. According to the rules, masters of the unity of nature and man are not allowed to participate in the front-line fighting of the army. You have exceeded the rules. The masters of the unity of nature and man are comparable to 1,000,000 troops. If the masters of the unity of nature and man wantonly slaughter the ordinary armies, what is the point of war? So I don't know when, the masters of the unity of nature and man from all over the world have acquiesced that the unity of nature and man a master is not allowed to participate in ordinary wars, and is not allowed to wantonly massacre ordinary warriors. Otherwise, you kill my army, and I kill your army. No one can stop it, and both countries will suffer huge losses. The general of Yan state was unwilling to retreat, so he wanted to use unspoken rules come to suppress Xiao Zhantian and force Xiao Zhantian to leave. Xiao Zhantian looked down at the general of the Yan kingdom, smiled evilly, and there was a coldness in his eyes. Rule? Who do you think you are? What qualifications do you have to talk to me about the rules? Since you don't want to leave alive, then go die. After saying that, Xiao Zhantian pointed at the general of Yan state and pointed out. Don't want. Seeing Xiao Zhantian take action, General Yan was terrified and regretful in his heart. At this moment, he really regretted it. He regretted that he had spoken rudely to Xiao Zhantian. He regretted that he was so blinded by interests that he actually provoked a god of heaven and man. The majesty of a master. Unfortunately, it is too late to regret it now. Xiao Zhantian pointed out, and the head of General Yan exploded instantly, and his body exploded instantly. With a bang, red and white things splashed around. He was a soldier. His way of death was almost the same as Zhao Yunshan's. No, his way of death was worse than Zhao Yunshan's. Zhao Yunshan only had his head blown apart, but his whole body exploded. His body was destroyed, and no bones remained. Ah! Seeing Xiao Zhantian take action to kill the Yan general, several soldiers suddenly screamed in fear. The Yan soldiers also panicked, and the breath of panic spread among the army, making everyone feel cold. All the hundreds of thousands of soldiers he lowered his head, not daring to look directly into Xiao Zhantian's eyes. Xiao Zhantian retracted his fingers. His eyes were cold and expressionless, as if what he had just killed was not a general of a country, but an ant. A mere ant in the early stage of a great master, I don't know where I got the confidence and courage to actually tell him the rules. If you want to tell him the rules, you need strength. If you don't have enough strength, you are not qualified to tell the rules. No matter what you do, it will be wrong. Even his existence itself, it's all a mistake, a death sentence worthy of death. Masters of the unity of nature and man from all over the world do have unwritten rules. Masters of the unity of nature and man are not allowed to wantonly massacre ordinary warriors. Therefore, Xiao Wuji did not massacre soldiers twice when he stopped fighting. The first time the two armies fought, although Xiao Wuji killed many people with one sword, it was a helpless move. The second time the two armies did not fight, Xiao Wuji struck the deserted wasteland with one sword, and even more, he didn't kill anyone. He didn't break the rules. As for the general of the Yan kingdom, he was seeking death. It is a capital crime in itself for a mere great master to discuss the rules with heaven and man. Xiao Wuji was condescending, looking down on hundreds of thousands of people in the Yan kingdom. The army said in a cold voice, I say it again, if you leave the territory of Daliang, those who disobey will be killed without mercy. Run! Run! Retreat, everyone retreat! Although they were expelled by Xiao Zhantian, the hundreds of thousands of troops were relieved as if they had been granted amnesty, and began to flee with their lives. It was an unexpected blessing to be able to save their lives. In the blink of an eye, dozens of soldiers from the Yan kingdom, 10,000 troops, withdrew from the plain. Smoke and dust billowed in the distance, like a group of fleeing birds and beasts. Retreat, the Yan army retreated. We won. Some soldiers in the Daliang army burst into tears and cheered loudly. Thank you, Your Majesty. Long live Your Majesty. Thank you, Your Majesty. Long live Your Majesty. Some soldiers knelt down, kowtowed to Xiao Wuji, and shouted, Long live Your Majesty. Someone took the lead, and the soldiers fell in pieces like wheat, and the shouts of long live kept coming. Although Xiao Zhantian has not yet ascended the throne at this moment, this army has already treated Xiao Zhantian as the emperor. Get up, the army must gather back to the city and defend the territory. After saying that, Xiao Wuji disappeared into the sky, leaving only the lingering sound that lingered for a long time. Yes, I will obey His Majesty's will. Tens of thousands of soldiers responded in unison. In this way, Xiao Wuji, with one man and one sword, forced back the millions of armies of the two countries and relieved the danger of Daliang. Dezhou and Dian, after knowing the news, the emperor didn't say anything. It's not that we didn't complain, but we didn't dare to complain. In the 23rd year after Emperor Jingtai of the Great Zhou dynasty came to the throne, he met Xiaolushan, the ancestor of the royal family, for the first time, and got Xiaolushan's ordered him not to quarrel with Daliang. Without his order, the border army could not move rashly. The same is true in the country of Dian. Xiao Zhantian's deterrence was too terrifying, and even the masters of heaven and humans in Great Zhou and Dian did not want to enmity with Xiao Zhantian. After all, no one wants to become the next Gang Xiang or Shang Guan'ao. Xiaolushan even wants to marry Xiao Zhantian, taking this opportunity to form an alliance between the two countries and help each other. Approaching this moment, Dezhou and Xiao Zhan, there is no enmity between the sky. On the contrary, they have a common enemy, which is the demon sect. The demon sect is the sworn enemy of the Xia family of the Great Zhou dynasty, and Xiao Zhantian killed Shang Guan'ao, and is also the sworn enemy of the demon sect. Enemies, the enemy is the friend. From this point of view, there is still a basis for cooperation and alliance between Xiao Zhantian and Dezhou. The demon sect's old nest is in the barren mountains and dense forests outside Suanyao Cave. Whoosh, a black shadow cuts across the sky, spanning a distance of hundreds of meters in an instant, and landed on a big tree in the sky. The person who came was extremely light and unparalleled, and his movements were silent, and the real energy fluctuations were extremely weak. Whoosh! Whoosh. Whoosh. Black Shadow. After many teleportations, he finally arrived at the deepest part of the deep mountain forest. The Black Shadow appeared, and it was one of the three demons of the demon sect, Feng Emo Shenyi. At this moment, Feng Emo no longer looked as heroic as before, and his whole body was shrouded in there is an aura of decline. Although his face still looks like a middle-aged man, his aura is very old, no different from an old man in his twilight years. The news has been confirmed that Xianzun Shangguan Ao, the leader of the demon sect, has fallen. Feng Emo doesn't believe it, but had to believe it. The moment the news was confirmed, Feng Emo couldn't accept it and spit out a mouthful of blood on the spot. This blow was too big for him, and it was too big for all the Shangguan clan members within the demon cult. At this time, at this moment, nothing is known within the demon sect, and Feng Emo must personally inform everyone in the demon sect of the news. Feng Emo turned over and landed on the ground, slowly walking towards the woods ahead. As he walked past, the air suddenly rippled. Feng Emo walked in like this. He disappeared into the air ripples and completely disappeared. There was obviously no change in the woods, but the wind demon just disappeared, and the air ripples also disappeared. The wind demon passed through the air ripples, and the scene in front of him had changed greatly, completely different from what was behind him. He could see the outside scene ripples behind him, but the outside world couldn't see clearly the scene inside. This layer of air ripples invisible to the naked eye was like an invisible barrier, dividing this place into two worlds. This is the demon cult. The clan protecting formation is a powerful formation that combines the illusion formation, the confusion formation, and the killing formation. Even though the wind demon walked silently along the way, without encountering any obstruction, it seemed to be extremely safe. But in fact, Suanyao Cave Sky, there are countless demon sect spies hidden in the barren mountains, and there are also countless traps and killing arrays. If you are not careful, you will be shattered into pieces, and you will die without a whole body. There are demon sect spies in the mountains for 12 hours under round-the-clock surveillance. Anyone approaching the mountains will be discovered immediately and then cleaned up quietly. The final clan protecting formation is even more powerful, and even a half-step celestial master cannot break it by force. Unless a truly powerful person who unites nature and man takes action, or breaks through from within. More than 50 years ago, the reason why the Great Zhou dynasty was able to break through the demon sect's lair was because a traitor dismantled the clan protecting formation from within, and thus achieved a complete victory. The strongest defenses often break down from within. No matter how many years have passed, the words of our ancestors are still wise. Therefore, after the huge changes more than 50 years ago, the defense power of Suanyao Cave is now better than before. Especially for the clan protection formation, the people responsible for maintaining the clan formation are all members of the Shangguan clan. No matter how high their status is, foreigners don't know the core of the clan protecting formation. This is true even for foreign protectors. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at West Lake. Chapter 392. The wind demon entered the clan protecting formation, passed through a series of secret passages and mazes, and finally passed through a cave and finally entered the Blackbird Cave. At the entrance of Suanyao Cave, when two groups of soldiers saw Feng Emo coming, they immediately knelt down on one knee and saluted, saying respectfully, "I see you, Lord Feng Emo." "Well, get up." Feng Emo nodded slightly, said something faintly, and entered Xian Niao with an expressionless expression. The two groups of soldiers behind him stood up, without squinting, with expressionless faces, like puppets without any emotions of their own. Feng Emo came to Xian Niao. Outside a palace in the center of the cave, before even getting close, it was forced to retreat by a powerful force. It was the retreat hall of the demon sect's leader, Shangguan Wuxiao. Shangguan Wuxiao was in charge of Suanyao Cave and Tianping, and all affairs were handled by Shangguan Wuxiao. Shangguan Wuidao made a decision. After Shangguan Wuidao retreated, Suanzun Shangguan Ao was temporarily in charge, and all important matters were reported to Shangguan Ao. However, at this moment, Shangguan Ao had fallen, and Shangguan Wuidao was in retreat to break through the unity of heaven and man. Realm. Feng Mo suddenly discovered that even if he wanted to report the death of Shangguan Ao, he could not find anyone who could report it. In fact, the demon sect also has a master who combines heaven and man, and his status and strength are still in Suanzun Shangguan Ao's 083. He is the previous leader of the demon sect and the old demon lord of the demon sect, Shangguan Wuxiao. It's just that Shangguan Wuxiao was seriously injured in the war more than 50 years ago. He has been in seclusion for more than 50 years to heal his injuries. Out of seclusion. Even Feng Mo didn't know where Shangguan Wuxiao was in seclusion. If it weren't for the vision of the fall of heavenly beings, everyone in the demon sect would have thought that Shangguan Wuxiao had already died. Feng Mo looked at Shangguan Wuidao with complicated eyes. He retreated to the palace, hoping in his heart that Shangguan Wuidao would break out of the barrier as soon as possible. Leader, now our holy religion is facing a critical moment of life and death. If the leader does not come out of isolation, no one will be able to lead us to make a comeback. Feng Mo never thought that the situation would change so quickly and suddenly. Although the demon sect lost its 3 guardians, Ghost Emperor, Kang Emperor, and Blood Demon a while ago, it seemed that it had suffered heavy losses and its vitality was severely damaged. But they found Ye Emperor. The golden-faced Lion King joined as a protector, which restored part of his strength, and the foundation of the demon sect was still there. However, the death of Suanzun Shangguan Ao really caused half of the demon sect to collapse, and Feng Mo was so distressed that he couldn't breathe. Boom. That's it? When Feng Mo was thinking about it, a terrifying true energy suddenly burst out from the palace. This true energy was as powerful as a mountain or a sea, and it was indescribably powerful. The moment it appeared, it enveloped the entire Blackbird Cave. This terrifying energy was again under the pressure of the true energy. Everyone in Suanyao Cave fell to their knees and could not move. Feng Mo Shenyi was no exception. Unprepared, Feng Mo Shenyi was directly suppressed by the pressure of the true energy. He fell to his knees. The blue stone floor under his knees was smashed to pieces. However, Feng Mo was ecstatic. He looked at the palace where the pressure of true energy was still erupting, and he was ecstatic in his heart. This level of true energy, this level of coercion cannot be released by warriors who are half-step into the realm of heaven and man. Only a true master of the unity of heaven and man can release it. A breakthrough, the leader has a breakthrough. Great, great, God will protect my Shangguan clan. The wind demon roared in his heart, and the blood in his whole body boiled. Boom. With a loud noise, the roof of the palace was broken by the true essence. A round of light pillars rose into the sky, breaking through the rock wall of the top of Suanyao Cave, and breaking through the great clan protector. The array finally penetrated the high-altitude clouds. In the pillar of light, a figure slowly rose into the sky. This person was clearly the leader of the demon cult, Shangguan Wuidao. Shangguan Wuidao exuded a terrifying aura and pressure, slowly opening his eyes were cold, like thousand-year-old ice, without any warmth or emotion. He glanced at everyone coldly, and with a swish, disappeared completely, and the light beam also dissipated instantly. The terrifying pressure of true energy disappeared, and Suanyao, all the tens of thousands of people in the cave, breathed a sigh of relief. At that time, the pressure was as heavy as a mountain, and some people were even knocked unconscious. Fortunately, Shangguan Wuidao had no murderous intention. Otherwise, Suanyao Cave will be washed with blood. The pressure of masters who combine nature and man is enough to crush ordinary warriors to pieces. Shangguan Wuidao disappeared, and a stream of light appeared in the barren mountains outside Suanyao Cave. The streamer cut through in the sky, in the blink of an eye, it has arrived hundreds of miles away. Here, Shangguan Wudiao exploded all the true energy in his body without reservation. The true energy beam rose into the sky, rolling up the wind and clouds in the sky. Boom! There was a loud roar in the sky, but there was no thunder or lightning. Only endless dazzling golden light bloomed between the rolling clouds. The golden light was bright, falling from the sky, wrapping Shangguan Wudiao. The warrior broke through the realm of the unity of heaven and man, and the way of heaven a vision must appear and be announced to the world. All powerful warriors in the world can see the vision, and masters of the unity of heaven and man will even send incarnations of heaven and man to check the situation. In order not to expose the location of Suanyao cave, Shangguan Wu at the last moment after Dao left Suanyao cave, he made the final breakthrough. Shangguan Wudao slowly rose into the sky in the golden light of heaven, and the aura on his body became stronger and stronger. The power of heaven and earth surged in from all directions, forming a whirlpool. Shangguan Wudao is in the center of the whirlpool, absorbing the power of heaven and earth into his body. In the sea of consciousness between Shangguan Wudao's eyebrows that no one can see, Shangguan Wudao's you and the gods are slowly coming together and taking shape. The most important thing to break through the unity of heaven and man is to condense the soul. Everyone has the soul, but whether they can use the power of the soul and condense the soul into an entity, the world between the two, what a difference. Boom! The whirlpool in the sky is getting bigger and bigger, and the scope of the vision is getting bigger and bigger, and it is getting more and more violent. At this moment, all the strong men in heaven and earth who are one of heaven and man are all induced. In the Daliang Palace, a thunder shook all directions. Xiao Wuji, who was sitting on the dragon chair, was the first to feel the reaction. In a flash, he had arrived outside the palace hall. Xiao Wuji raised his head and looked up at the sky, only to see clouds gathering in the distance and golden light diffused, shining on millions of tails. Although it seemed to be right in front of him, Xiao Wuji knew that the golden light was tens of thousands of miles away from him. Whoosh! The sound of breaking wind sounded, and a figure came to Xiao Wuji, and it was Xiao Tian's. Xiao Tian's looked at the golden light in the distant sky made my eyes dull, and I was so shocked that I couldn't speak. This is a strange phenomenon between heaven and man. Someone has broken through the realm of unity between heaven and man. Xiao Tian's is not an ignorant novice. With just one look, he can tell that this is someone who is breaking through the realm of unity between heaven and man. He is a powerful person at the peak of the Grand Master. He looks like he is standing at the pinnacle of martial arts, only one step away from half-step heaven. But he knew that he would never be able to cross this step in his life. The reason why he was able to break through the peak realm of Grand Master was because he relied on the secret method of Twingu and brought together the qualifications and skills of himself and Xiao Tiankai. Breaking through the peak realm of the Grand Master is already the limit, and the potential has been exhausted. The road to martial arts has reached the end, and it is impossible to break through again in this life. At this moment, seeing someone break through the realm of the unity of nature and man, I am naturally fascinated and extremely envious. Xiao Wuji said calmly, another person has embarked on the path of heaven and man. Things in the world are impermanent, the universe is unpredictable, and his fate is indeed wonderful. Xiao Wuji's voice was neither happy nor angry, but his expression was somewhat meaningful. Xiao Tian's heard the connotation in Xiao Wuji's voice, but he couldn't understand it. Xiao Wuji didn't say anything, so he didn't ask. Xiao Wuji looking calmly at the vision in the sky, he has already guessed the identity of the person who made the breakthrough. At this time, there is no one who has the ability to break through the realm of unity between man and nature, and who can succeed, except for the leader of the demon sect, Shangguan Wudao. Two people. A while ago, Suanyao cave was closed, and Shangguan Wudao broke through in retreat. Xiao Wuji thought it would take a long time for him to retreat this time, but he didn't expect that he successfully broke through in just a few months. Shangguan Wudiao is worthy of being recognized by the world. The strongest genius in the past 200 years, with a solid foundation and profound knowledge. Breaking through to the realm of unity between man and nature was a matter of course, without any obstacles. Interestingly, I killed a Shangguan Ao, and now there is another Shangguan Wudiao. The luck of the demon sect is really deep, and the strong ones are killed repeatedly. The corners of Xiao Wuji's mouth raised, outlining a sneer. But this sneer was extremely cold, 2.4 making people fearful. The sneer disappeared in an instant, and Xiao Tian's didn't see it, so he couldn't help asking Zhan Tian, "Don't you go and take a look?" With the emergence of a powerful man who unites nature and man, the power of all countries in the world may change. Xiao Wuji said calmly, "No need to look, I already know who he is." After saying that, Xiao Wuji turned around and returned to the palace hall. He sat on the dragon chair and was no longer interested in the vision in the sky. "Do you know who he is?" Xiao Tian's was stunned for a moment, then ran into the palace hall and asked, "Who is this person?" Xiao Wuji smiled and said, "This matter will soon spread throughout the world. It doesn't matter if I tell you now. If I guessed correctly, this person is the leader of the demon cult, Shangguan Wudiao. Is Shangguan dishonest? The evil leader who is said to be the strongest in the world for 200 years. Xiao Tian's was a little frightened. Shangguan Wudiao's name has been heard by all warriors in the world. Before his breakthrough, Shangguan Wudiao was the '1 master on the heavenly ranking. He was the youngest, but he surpassed Jianmen Bailey Transcendence and Buddhism Liang Chan. Si King Gran and other leaders of the righteous path have become the strongest in the heavenly ranking. Now they are one step ahead of them in breaking through to the realm of unity between nature and man. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 393. Without Xiao Wuji, Shangguan Wudiao, the most powerful genius in the world for 200 years, would really be worthy of his reputation. What's more important is that the demon sect has a blood feud with them. Xiao Tian's already knew from Xiao Wuji that on that day during the war between heaven and man, he not only killed Gang Xiang of Bodhi Temple, but also killed Suanzun Shangguan Ao of the demon sect. Shangguan Ao is not only a celestial master of the demon sect, but also Shangguan Wudiao's master. He and Shangguan Wudiao have a relationship of both teacher and father. The hatred for killing my father is irreconcilable. If Shangguan Wudiao knew that Xiao Zhantian was the murderer, he would definitely come to take revenge. "Zhantian, we must prepare early," Xiao Tian said worriedly. The demon sect is a behemoth. With such an enemy, it is really difficult for him to live peacefully. Xiao Wuji smiled nonchalantly and said lightly, "Don't worry, a mere Shangguan with no morals can't threaten me. Even if you break through the realm of unity between man and nature, you are still no match for me." Now Xiao Wuji has stepped into the fourth realm of heaven and man, half a step into the void. The absolute strength gives Xiao Wuji absolute self-confidence. Shangguan Wudiao is a genius with a solid foundation and profound knowledge. Even if he breaks through, even after he breaks through, he is a genius. The two levels are just the same Lingyun realm as Shangguan Ao. The second realm of heaven and man is against Xiao Wuji's fourth realm of heaven and man. If Xiao Wuji attacks with all his strength, he can kill Shangguan Wu with just one move. Dao. The demon sect, which used to make Xiao Wuji extremely wary, is no longer taken seriously by Xiao Wuji. If Xiao Wuji wants to kill Shangguan Wudiao, he can take action now. 06 The reason why he does not take action is to keep the demon sect and the great Zhou dynasty was going around, and he was just a fisherman. As his strength improved, Xiao Wuji's horizons also broadened. Now Xiao Wuji is no longer concerned about a small demon sect or a small demon section de Zhou or de Liang. but the whole world. The demon sect and Dezhou are all pawns on his chessboard. Just wait, it will be fun soon. What's more, although the demon sect has a blood feud with us, their number one enemy is not us, but the Zhou dynasty. Look, there must be someone more anxious than us now. Xiao Wuji looked outside the palace hall, his eyes seemed to have passed through the void thousands of miles away, and he saw Jinling, the imperial city of the great Zhou dynasty thousands of miles away. Shangguan Wudao's breakthrough to the realm of unity of heaven and man was the biggest bad news for the great Zhou dynasty. Just like Xiao Wuji thought, when Shangguan Wudao broke through, Xiao Lucian and Xiao Aishi in Tongtian Pavilion sensed something strange at the same time, and immediately discovered the strange phenomenon in the distance. Another person has broken through the realm of unity between man and nature. And the range is very close, within my territory of Dazhu. In Tongtian Pavilion, the two heavenly ancestors Xiao Lucian and Xiao Aishi frowned, and there was an inexplicable uneasiness in their hearts. With their induction, they easily determined that the person who made the breakthrough was within the territory of Great Zhou. This means the newly emerged master of heavenly beings is from the Great Zhou. If this person is a friend, it's okay, but if he is an enemy, then their great Zhou dynasty will have another great enemy. As the number of heavenly beings in the great Zhou dynasty increases, it is also a huge challenge for the imperial power controlled by the Xia family. The master of the unity of nature and man is transcendent and cannot even be controlled by the imperial power. This means that there is another person in the great Zhou dynasty that the Xia family cannot control. What happened in recent years? Why do masters of harmony between man and nature appear so often? First it was Xiao Zhantian, and now there's another one. In the past few decades, there might not have been a celestial being, but now they appear one after another. Is this a sign of great changes in the world? Xiao Aishi frowned, his thoughts flying, looking at the vision in the distance, his eyes were deep and his expression was unclear. Father, the person who made the breakthrough this time is a person from the Zhou dynasty. I must go and see it. Xiao Lucian's voice rang in Xiao Aishi's ears. Xiao Aishi said lightly, go ahead, if you can recruit him, make a good relationship, if you can't. Xiao Aishi didn't say the next words, but Xiao Lucian knew it in his heart. I understand. Xiao Lucian's mind moved, and a heavenly incarnation took shape, walked out of the body of the deity, and disappeared in an instant. After a breath, Xiao Lucian's heavenly incarnation had arrived at the barren mountain tens of thousands of miles away from Jinling city. He had excellent eyesight, and he could see at a glance. I saw Shangguan Wudao in the golden light pillar. Shangguan Wudao, he was the one who made the breakthrough. Xiao Lucian's face instantly darkened, his eyes were cold and murderous. Without a moment's hesitation, he raised his hand and slapped Shangguan Wudao with his palm, hoping to block Shangguan Wudao's path to heaven and humanity. Xiao's family, the royal family, and the Shangguan family are sworn enemies. The two sides have already had a life and death relationship. This hatred can only be ended by the total annihilation of one family. Xiao Lucian can see anyone breaking through the realm of the unity of heaven and man, but he cannot be a member of the demon section. What's more, this person is the most powerful genius in the history of the Shangguan clan, Shangguan Wudao. The power of his palm shot out of the air, the power of heaven and earth gathered together, and finally turned into a ferocious dragon, shooting towards Shangguan Wudao. The giant dragon roared, and the roar resounded throughout the fields, echoing between heaven and earth. Shangguan Wudao naturally noticed Xiao Lucian's killing move, but he just sneered disdainfully. Without seeing any movement from him, an invisible terrifying force had already erupted. The power of heaven and earth formed a barrier, blocking the power of the dragon's palm and crushing it into nothingness. Xiao Lucian, even if you come in person, there is no way you can block my path to heaven and humanity, not to mention that you are just an incarnation of heaven and humanity. It's better not to embarrass yourself here, it's just to make you laugh. Shangguan Wudao has a solid foundation and extremely profound knowledge. He was able to defeat Shangguan Ao's incarnation of heaven and man when he was only half a step into heaven. Now he has embarked on the path of heaven and his strength has improved by leaps and bounds. An incarnation of Xiaolushan, it couldn't shake him at all. Boom! The clouds in the sky were rolling, and the endless golden light was dazzling, shining on the world. The golden light gathered, fell from the sky, and was absorbed into Shangguan Wudao's body. Then, the golden light slowly dissipated, and the golden light pillar disappeared without a trace. Wait until everything disappears, only Shangguan Wudao was left in the sky. He stepped on the void, and his feet did not control the wind, but stood in the void. This is the symbol of the four realms of heaven and man, the realm of Lingyuan. Just as Xiao Wuji guessed, Shangguan Wudao was talented. The monster, as soon as he broke through, he directly crossed over to the wind control realm and reached the Lingyuan realm. Shangguan is unruly, damn it. Seeing that Shangguan Wudao had successfully broken through, Xiaolushan was so angry that he was trembling with anger. But at this moment, a huge palm fell from the sky and struck him head-on. The palm force was powerful, blocking all Xiaolushan's escape routes, leaving him with nowhere to escape. At the same time, Shangguan Wudao's cold voice sounded. I have broken through the heavens and humans. I will first kill your incarnation. I will kill your own body in the next day and destroy the entire Xia clan. Boom! With a powerful palm strike, everything was destroyed. Shangguan Wudao's palm power was domineering. With one strike, the ground shook violently. A barren mountain and forest was annihilated, leaving only a huge palm print with a diameter of more than 100 meters. Xia Lushan's heavenly incarnation was beaten into nothingness and disappeared into smoke. After killing Xiaolushan's heavenly incarnation, Shangguan Wudao glanced at the distance with an expressionless face, turned around and turned into a stream of light shooting into the distance, disappeared. In the direction where Shangguan Wudao looked, an old man with white beard and hair was standing on the treetop. He looked at the direction where Shangguan Wudao was going and shook his head. That look just now made me panic when I stared at the old man. How come today's young people are so powerful? If this continues, how can we old men still survive? The old man shaking his head and sighing was clearly Old Man Tianji, and of course he came in an incarnation. When Old Man Tianji arrived, he happened to see the scene where Shangguan Wudao annihilated Xiaolushan's incarnation with one palm. Shangguan Wudao's decisive killing gesture, it was exactly the same as what he knew. This time Shangguan Wudao broke through the realm of the unity of nature and man, and all the masters of the unity of nature and man in the world felt it. But only Xiaolushan and Old Man Tianji came here to check the details. Just because after the last battle between Xiao Zhantian and Shangguan Ao and Gang Xiang, many heavenly beings had some insights while watching the battle, and they are now in retreat. For example, Sword Ancestor Chang Kongwuji sensed that someone had broken through to the realm of heavenly beings, without even raising his eyelids. In the past, when someone broke through to heaven, he went to watch the fun, just because he was bored and had nothing to do. He rarely went out to have fun and catch up with his fellow practitioners. But this time, he was in seclusion to comprehend a new realm of swordsmanship. Everything was inferior to him. Martial arts. The same goes for Xiantong from the Buddhist sect and Xiao Aizai from the Taoist sect. Only Old Man Tianji is not shy and spends his days leisurely in the world and hanging among flowers, so he has so much time to watch the fun. Old Man Tianji looked at Shangguan Wudao in the direction of leaving, the eyes and pupils suddenly turned pure white, and there seemed to be after images passing by, and finally returned to their original state. The demon sect's luck is endless. Shangguan Ao fell. Shangguan Wudao immediately broke through and entered the realm of Lingyuan. It's a pity that there is still some gap between him and Xiao Zhantian. Old Man Tianji shook his head slightly and turned to leave. Those of them who saw Xiao Zhantian kill Shang Guan'ao with their own eyes know how terrifying Xiao Zhantian is. Especially Chang Kongwuji, Xiao Aizai, Xiantong, and his Tianji. The old man is the four heavenly beings of the Wuji realm. When Xiao Zhantian broke through after the war, the invisible coercion exuded from his body makes the old man Tianji still a little scared when he thinks about it. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 394. When Xiao Zhantian broke through after the war, the invisible pressure emanating from his body still frightened old man Tianji to this day. He even suspected that Xiao Zhantian had already entered the fourth realm of heaven and human beings, half-step into the void. It's just that no one has stepped into the realm of void in the past 500 years, and Xiao Zhantian didn't admit it, so he didn't dare to be sure. But even without evidence, old man Tianji knew that Xiao Zhantian was terrifyingly powerful, surpassing all of them. I am afraid that only Chang Kongwuji, the most lethal swordsman, is qualified to fight against Xiao Zhantian. Before this, sword ancestor Chang Kongwuji was recognized by many heavenly beings as the strongest person in the world, and he was also the person closest to the half-step void realm. But after Xiao Zhantian was born, who is stronger or weaker between Xiao Zhantian and Chang Kongwuji can only be known after fighting. Jinling City, Tongtian Pavilion. Boom. Xiao Lushan, the old man of heaven, was shaken and opened his eyes suddenly, with a trace of shock, anger, and murderous intent flashing in his eyes. Damn Shangguan, you are so arrogant and arrogant. I will definitely kill you in the future to relieve the anger in my heart. Being killed by Shangguan Wuidao will not cause any loss to me. The lost power of the soul can be cultivated back in just a few days. But the key is not the physical injury, but the face. Xia, the royal family and the Shangguan clan were enemies. Xia Lushan's incarnation was beheaded by Shangguan Wuidao, and Xia Lushan's face was completely humiliated. Although no outsiders knew about it, Xia Lushan couldn't bear it in his heart. He could die in the hands of anyone, the only thing you can't die in is the hands of someone from the demon cult, especially that person is the leader of the demon cult, Shangguan Wuidao. Luo Tian, how is the situation? At this moment, Xia Aishi's voice sounded in Xia Lushan's ears. Xia Lushan took a deep breath, calmed down, and said, Father, the identity of the person who made the breakthrough has been found out. This person is the leader of the demon cult. Shangguan Wuidao. The incarnation of the celestial being of Urchin was beheaded by him. Looking at what happened after he broke through, he had already entered the second realm of celestial beings, the Lingyuan realm. Tongtian Pavilion was silent for a moment, and then there was a cold snort. The remnants of the demon sect must die. Xia Aishi was also angry when he learned that Shangguan Wuidao had broken through to the realm of unity between heaven and man. The situation he least wanted to see happened. The new breakthrough between heaven and man was indeed the mortal enemy of Zhou dynasty and his Xia family's royal family. Fortunately, Shangguan had already fallen. Otherwise, there would be 3 heavenly beings within the demon cult, which would be a great challenge to our Xia clan. Father is right. Xia Lushan also secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Thinking of Shangguan being killed by Xiao Zhantian, the anger in Xia Lushan's heart dissipated a lot. What he lost was just an incarnation, which was not painful to him. But what the demon sect lost was a genuine heavenly master, and one of the sky-supporting pillars collapsed. Even if Shangguan Wuidao broke through to the Lingyuan realm, the overall strength of the master was the same as that of his Xia family, and there were still 2 heavenly masters. 2 against 2, the Xia royal family may not lose. In addition, Xia Aishi will soon be able to break through the half-step void realm. Xia Lushan feels even more relieved. Shangguan Wuidao breaks through to Lingyuan realm. Although the threat is not small, I can deal with it. The most critical figure in the demon cult is Shangguan Fixiao. Xia Aishi's voice came again, that old guy is not weak. Although he was seriously injured by me more than 50 years ago, his life is very tough. He should still be alive now. After more than 50 years of healing, his injuries must be much better. Only by completely dealing with this person can we completely cut off the remnants of Shangguan from wanting to return to the country. Xiaolushan nodded slightly and said, Father, don't worry, I will order my secret guards to investigate the location of the demon sex lair. The place where Shangguan Wuidao broke through this time is the biggest clue. Even if the demon sex lair isn't there, it's certainly not far from there. Xiaoyashi said, okay, I'll leave everything to you. Also, the matter of forming an alliance with Xiao Zhantian must be carried out as soon as possible. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. If we can unite with Xiao Zhantian, it will be easy to destroy the Shangguan clan. Xiaolushan said respectfully. Father, don't worry, I have a plan. Good. Xiaoyashi said hello at the end, and his voice fell into silence at the end. The demon sex home base, the Blackbird Cave. Shangguan Wuidao returned to the main hall and sat on the leader's throne. He was in a good mood. He first broke through to the realm of the unity of nature and man, and as soon as he broke through, Lingyuan realm, and then killed Xiaolushan, a celestial incarnation, which can be said to be a double happiness. Shangguan Wuidao was naturally in a good mood. With double happiness coming, Shangguan Wuidao was already thinking about throwing a big banquet to celebrate. However, right now at this time, Feng Amo suddenly walked into the hall, came to Shangguan Wuidao, knelt down on one knee and saluted, my subordinate Shangguan Yin, Feng Mo's real name, please see the leader. Ha 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 ha, it's Feng Amo, get up. Shangguan Wuidao laughed loudly and waved his hands to support him. However, Feng Amo did not get up, and his face was ugly. Shangguan Wuidao noticed this, the joy on his face faded slightly, and he asked in a deep voice, what's wrong? What happened? Feng Amo stopped talking, glanced at Shangguan Wuidao, grabbed the ground with his head, and cried, report to the leader of Qi, Lord Xuanzun, he, fallen. Boom. Like a thunderbolt hitting the Tianling cap, Shangguan Wuidao's brain roared and went blank. After regaining consciousness, Shangguan Wuidao suddenly stepped down from the throne of the leader. He stood up and teleported to Feng Amo, holding him in his hand. Say it again, what happened to him? Feng Amo Shun was trembling with fear and cried, Lord Xianzun, fallen. Shangguan Wuidao's eyes widened, and a terrifying murderous aura erupted all over his body. He roared in anger, impossible, absolutely impossible. As he spoke, he threw the wind demon in his hand heavily to the ground. The master's magical power is unparalleled, who has the strength to kill him? Shangguan Yin, do you know what you are talking about? Shangguan Wuidao stared at Feng Amo fiercely, with a ferocious expression and red eyes, like a man-eating evil ghost. Fortunately, this person is Shangguan Yin, a core figure of the Shangguan clan. If it were anyone else who dared to say such words, Shangguan Wuidao has already crushed him to ashes. Feng Amo looked sad and said, I know that the leader does not believe it, but this is the fact. Lord Xuanzun has really fallen. Shangguan Wuidao was so angry that he was trembling all over. He wished he could smash Feng Mo's mouth with his palm to stop him talking nonsense. But seeing that Feng Mo's words were solid and did not seem to be false, he had to believe it even if he didn't believe it. Shangguan Wuidao suppressed the anger in his heart. Sen Leng asked, who is the murderer? Feng Amo said the murderer's name is Xiao Zhantian. He is also the Nangongye we have been chasing so hard before. He is a descendant of King Yuping of Daliang. This person. Next, Feng Amo explained Xiao Zhantian's identity and everything that had happened in the past period in detail. Shangguan Wuidao didn't expect that so many things would happen while he was in seclusion. The Xiao Zhantian who suddenly appeared was the Nangongye they had been searching for. This man not only killed the Ghost Emperor and the Blood Demon, but now even Sun Zun Shangguan Ao died in his hands. Nangong Yet. Xiao Zhantian. I don't care if you are Nangong Yet or Xiao Zhantian, if you kill our clan's Qingtian pillar, I will definitely pay for it with your blood. Shangguan Wudiao roared to the sky, and the terrifying momentum and pressure burst out, covering the entire Suanyao cave. Everyone in Suanyao cave fell to their knees and trembled. Everyone felt Shangguan Wudiao's cold and murderous intention. They don't understand why the leader is suddenly angry. They should be happy to break through the realm of unity between man and nature. Where is Xiao Zhantian now? Shangguan Wudiao suddenly turned around, looked at Feng Emo, and asked coldly. Feng Emo was shocked and shouted quickly, Master, don't be impulsive. Xiao Zhantian's strength is terrifying. We can't rush for revenge. Feng Emo is very clear about Xiao Zhantian's terror. One fight against two, killing two masters of the unity of heaven and man. Such strength is definitely not comparable to Shangguan Wudiao, who has just broken through the realm of heaven and man. I don't want Shangguan Wudiao to die in vain. The demon sect has lost Sun Zun Shangguan Ao, and can no longer lose its leader Shangguan Wudiao. Shangguan Wudiao took a deep breath, suppressed the good anger in his heart, and said, I don't. If you act impulsively, all you need to do is tell me, where is Xiao Zhantian at this moment? Feng Emo looked at Shangguan Wudiao and said, if my subordinate guessed correctly, Shangguan Wudiao should be in the Daliang Palace at this moment. Xiao Zhantian is a descendant of King Yuping of Daliang, and the purpose of overthrowing the Xiao royal family of Daliang was to avenge the genocide. Now the great revenge has been avenged, and the entire beam is his spoils. According to the news from Daliang's eyeliner, Xiao Zhantian is already preparing for the enthronement ceremony. I think it won't be long before the title of the Daliang kingdom will be changed, and Xiao Zhantian will also ascend the throne and proclaim himself emperor. Snortji proclaims himself emperor. He is dreaming. Shangguan Wudiao roared angrily, his eyes were like poisonous snakes, which made people shudder. Killing members of my Shangguan clan, killing my master, and actually wanting to ascend the throne and proclaim himself emperor is simply a wishful thinking. The Shangguan clan has been planning to restore the country for more than 100 years, but it is still far away. Originally, when he broke through the unity of heaven and man this time, the demon sect had 3 strong men of heaven and man. The plan to restore the country, which had been prepared for 100 years, was finally it can be expanded. But Xiao Zhantian's killing of Shangguan Ao was equivalent to ending the demon sect's plan to restore the country, and made their plan that had been prepared for hundreds of years come to nothing. There was no hope of the demon sect's recovery, but Xiao Zhantian, the enemy, was about to ascend the throne and proclaim himself emperor. How can Shangguan Wudiao accept talents? Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system? Author, Drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 395. Although the territory of Daliang is not as large as that of Dazhu, it is still a country and one of the 4 major countries in the world. Shangguan Wudiao would never allow an enemy to found a country or ascend the throne and proclaim himself emperor. If Xiao Zhantian is really allowed to ascend the throne and proclaim himself emperor, then the demon sect will have to face 2 great powers at the same time. If Dazhu forms an alliance with Xiao Zhantian, then there really is no hope for his demon sect to recover. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Xiao Zhantian, if you want to ascend the throne and become emperor, it is absolutely impossible. Shangguan Wudiao's voice was cold, like the roar of an evil ghost in hell. The cold light in his eyes flashed, and the murderous intention covering his body almost became a substance. At this moment, Shangguan Wudiao's murderous intention towards Xiao Zhantian reached its peak, and he couldn't wait till he can immediately kill Xiao Zhantian, peel off his skin and cramps, chop him into flesh, and then break his bones and raise ashes. But Feng Mo's reminder makes sense. He is no match for Xiao Zhantian now. Details of the battle between heaven and man he already knew it from Feng Mo's mouth. Although he had not seen it with his own eyes, he also knew a little bit about Xiao Zhantian's strength. With 1 against 2, Xiao Zhantian not only killed Gangxiang of Bodhi Temple and his master Shang Guan'ao, but also he was still unscathed after the battle. Such strength is definitely not the second realm of heaven and man, but the third realm of heaven and man, Wuxia realm. He is only the second realm of heaven and man, Lingyuan realm, and his strength is worse than Shang Guan'ao a few points. If you fight against Xiao Zhantian, you will definitely die. Although I am not your opponent, victory or defeat is not determined by strength alone. Xiao Zhantian, just wait, I will definitely make you pay the price and make you regret what you have done. Descendants of Prince Goe? Avenging genocide. You can destroy the Xiao royal family to avenge the genocide, but I will definitely let you, the Xiao family, exterminate the family again, and this time, I will never give you, the Xiao family, a chance to take revenge. Shang Guan'ao turned his head and looked outside the palace. 483 His eyes passed through the mountain jade of Suaniao cave, penetrating tens of thousands of miles of space, as if he saw Xiao Zhantian far away inside the Daliang palace. The murderous intention in Shang Guan'ao's eyes, the wind demon next to him was extremely frightened. He had never seen Shang Guan'ao look so angry. The murderous intention on Shang Guan'ao was not directed at him, but it also made his hair stand on end, his whole body was cold, and his body and mind were chilled. Xiao Wuji, who was far away in the Daliang palace, suddenly felt something in his heart. He opened his eyes suddenly and looked at the sky in the distance, and then a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. Hundreds of thousands of miles away, Xiao Wuji naturally couldn't feel the pain Shang Guan'ao released on him. Murderous intent. The reason why I feel it is because of the whim of the warrior and the warning from heaven and man. At the level of Xiao Wuji, as his control over the power of heaven and earth becomes deeper and deeper, his perception of all things in heaven and earth becomes deeper and deeper. The autumn wind has not moved the cicada. First awakening. Once someone has ill intentions towards him, Xiao Wuji will have a feeling in the dark. This kind of feeling cannot be controlled freely, and the principle cannot be explained clearly, let alone how to practice it. Sometimes it is there, and sometimes it is not. Some people have it, some people don't. But it does exist, and the effect is very significant. Xiao Wuji has had many impulses before, and it has come true every time. This malice must come from Shang Guan'ao. He must have succeeded in breaking through. It's just that you don't have the guts to seek revenge from me. Xiao Wuji sneered in his heart, not paying attention to Shang Guan'ao's malice. Shang Guan'ao was just a celestial being in the Lingyuan realm, the second realm of celestial beings. Xiao Wuji could kill him with one move and didn't take him seriously at all. If the demon cult hadn't been kept alive, Xiao Wuji would have killed Shang Guan'ao when he broke through. Just let you live a little longer and see how useful the demon cult can be. Xiao Wuji murmured to himself softly, with a cold light in his eyes that flashed away. Time passed, and it was already 1 month later. When Daliang Imperial City went to Beijing, a rumor spread in the city and became more and more serious. Did you hear that? His Majesty the Emperor is about to ascend the throne. Real or fake? Finally ascending to the throne. It should be true, everyone says so. His Majesty the Emperor is that one, right? Nonsense, who else could it be besides that one? Who would have thought that the descendant of King Yuping back then would be the new emperor today? It's so unpredictable. Our country name is also going to be changed. What was changed to? I think Daliang sounds pretty good, otherwise I won't change it. Fart, the new emperor ascends the throne, the name of the country will naturally be changed, and the great beam ruled by Emperor Xiao Duo has passed. Yes, Xiao Duo, Emperor Ai, was cruel, harmed the people, and deserved his death. His Majesty the Emperor beheaded Emperor Ai and saved the people from hanging. He is the true emperor through the ages, and he will definitely allow the people of Li to live a good life. The people are talking a lot, and they are spreading word of mouth, praising Xiao Zhantian's benevolence. Of course, Xiao Wuji is behind this rumor. However, among the many praises, there are also several completely different voices mixed in. Xiao Zhantian is a traitor, a rebellious traitor. Are you people blind? A middle-aged old scholar yelled, but as soon as he finished speaking, his mouth was covered by someone. Two expressionless men grabbed the middle-aged old scholar and quickly disappeared into the crowd. Onlookers saw this. Their hearts trembled, and they no longer dared to talk nonsense. They all knew that the middle-aged old scholar who had spoken so eloquently just now would never come again after he left. Humph, you actually excused the former emperor. This man deserved his death. Yes, 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 this person must be a traitor to the former government, damn it. Not only he deserves to die, but all his relatives also deserve to die. Rumors spread in the upper capital. From the noble families to the common people, everyone knew that Xiao Zhantian was going to ascend the throne and proclaim himself emperor. Although many aristocratic families knew that this day would come sooner or later, when this day came, many aristocratic families felt extremely sad. They all knew that the day Xiao Zhantian ascended the throne meant the complete destruction of Daliang. A royal family that had ruled this land for hundreds of years was completely lost in the long river of time. Everyone knows, right? Xiao Tianren is going to ascend the throne. Tell me, what should we do? In a wealthy mansion, there are many luxuriously dressed people gathered. Some of them are heads of martial arts families, some are heads of powerful families, and some are heads of noble families. In short, these people are either rich or noble, and each of them is in the capital. Big shots. Normally, a word from these high-ranking big shots can decide the life or death of hundreds or thousands of people. Together, even Emperor Xiao Duo has to give some face. But at this moment, these people there was no longer any arrogance on their faces, but only fear and panic. All because Xiao Zhantian was going to ascend the throne and proclaim himself emperor. Facing that terrifying figure, they didn't even dare to call him directly. I only dared to call him Xiao Tianren. Many big shots looked at each other and saw the fear in each other's eyes. An old man said there is no other choice except surrender. Facing everyone's gaze, the old man said slowly, everyone knows Xiao Tianren's strength. He is a true warrior who unites nature and man. And he is not an ordinary warrior who unites nature and man, he is a warrior who can kill the rigid elephant of Bodhi Temple head-on. Xiao Tianren's strength ranks at the top among many heavenly warriors in the world. Facing such a strong man, we have no other choice but to surrender. Not only that, our attitude must be respectful, very respectful. No matter what Xiao Tianren requests, we must agree. If he has an order, we must do our best to complete it. Isn't this just a lackey? The head of a noble family frowned and said with some displeasure. The other heads also nodded slightly. The old man said lightly, that's right, to put it harshly, we just want to be Xiao Tianren's lackeys. Only by being his lackey can our family be preserved. When a new emperor ascends the throne, he must cultivate his own power and support the families he needs. If we are not his lackeys, we will definitely be purged during the power reshuffle in the future. A big loss of strength and influence is a small thing. Maybe the whole family will perish. Old man, no matter what you think, the old man has decided to be Xiao Tianren's lackey. Facing the strange looks from everyone, the old man didn't feel any shame at all, and said calmly, you can say that the old man is timid and afraid of trouble, and is greedy for life and afraid of death, but the old man is already old and just wants to find a way to survive for future generations. It is really a struggle. Amazing. These words left everyone speechless. Those who wanted to laugh at the old man could no longer open their mouths. Everyone here knew the old man's identity, knew that he had done great things when he was young, and that he had some status in the world. Prestige. Such a person would not be afraid of death. But at this moment, the old man said that he was afraid of death. Obviously he had been frightened by Xiao Zhantian and no longer had the courage to resist Xiao Zhantian. In fact, if you think about it carefully, it is not just old man, they don't have the courage to resist Xiao Zhantian. A top-notch man who combines nature and man, a peerless figure who can single-handedly destroy an army of millions. Such a person, even if all their families unite, they are not Xiao Zhantian's opponent. Is it really meaningful to resist stubbornly? They gathered together today to discuss countermeasures. In fact, it was just a trace of unwillingness in their hearts. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 396. They were originally high-ranking figures, and their families held great power. When Emperor Xiaoduo was in power, he was weak in power. In addition, there was no master of the unity of heaven and man in Daliang, so power was dispersed. Imperial power could not completely suppress them. This kind of life has been going on for too long, and they are naturally unwilling to give up the power in their hands and the privilege of being a noble family. But the true master of harmony between man and nature is different from Emperor Xiaoduo. Xiaoduo needs to use imperial power to suppress them. But Xiao Zhantian didn't need it. Xiao Zhantian used his own strength to crush them. The power of one person can turn the world upside down. Anyone who stands in front of Xiao Zhantian will be mercilessly crushed to death by him. So from the beginning, they have no choice but to be dogs. Alas, those days are gone forever. The head of an aristocratic family shook his head and sighed. The situation is stronger than the people. Nowadays, people are the slaves, and we are the fish and meat. We can only be slaughtered by others. I hope Xiao Tianren can be merciful and give us a way to survive. Rather than sit back and wait for death, it is better to take the initiative and show favor to Xiao Tianren. The head of an aristocratic family suddenly said. He is the head of the Yang family. He looks to be in his 50s. As soon as he said this, everyone turned their attention to him. Lao Yang, what are your ideas? That's right. If you have an idea, just say it. Don't be secretive. Now everyone is a grasshopper on a rope. Lao Yang coughed, looked around at everyone and said, isn't Xiao Tianren about to ascend the throne? The enthronement ceremony is extremely complicated, and a large amount of gold and silver is spent on it. We can all contribute this money as a gesture of goodwill to Xiao Tianren. Not only that, during the previous war between heaven and man, many palaces in the imperial palace collapsed. We can also pay for the construction. There are also damaged houses, streets, etc. in Shangjing City. We can pay to build them. In short, if you provide money, food, and people, as the saying goes, don't hit the smiling person. We all show our kindness in this way. Xiao Tianren will definitely not go too far. He wants to be the emperor, and his heart is as broad as the ocean. Even if he is just showing off to the world, he will not be too harsh on us meritorious ministers. After Lao Yang finished speaking, the hall suddenly became quiet. The heads of many aristocratic families frowned, thinking carefully, and felt that Lao Yang's words made sense. Well, yes, that's a good idea. I agree, just think of it as money to buy your life, and it can also be regarded as a vote for your name. If we use this kind of behavior to pledge our allegiance, Xiao Tianren will definitely not refuse. Okay, let's do this. Lao Yang, I see that you don't seem to be very smart at ordinary times, but unexpectedly you are quite sharp at critical moments. Lao. Yang's head was covered with black lines and he said calmly, I just think you are praising me. Okay, now that everyone agrees, let's go home and do it. If you have money, you will get money. If you have food, you will get food. If you have people, you will get people. In short, in the shortest possible time, the city of Shangjing was restored to be better than before, the palace was built to be more luxurious than before, and the enthronement ceremony was held beautifully, which made Xiao Tianren look good on his face. If Xiao Tianren has face, good days for all of us are not far away. After that, the heads of various aristocratic families and noble families left. They had connections, and soon got in touch with Xiao Tian's, saying they were willing to contribute money, food, and effort. He even said he was willing to donate his own property to fill the national treasury. Xiao Tian's naturally accepted this readily, and he had already expected this. Xiao Wuji had already expected this. Even when these dignitaries gathered to discuss, and what they said during the discussion, every word was recorded and reported to him. Among the heads of the gathered aristocratic families, there was an assassin who was controlled by Xiao Wuji using the soul-moving method. There is also the noble family head who has taken refuge in him a long time ago. In general, all their actions were under Xiao Wuji's nose. Haha, these people are quite sensible. After Xiao Wuji learned the news, he just smiled and didn't pay too much attention. With the money, food, and efforts of the major families, the reconstruction of the capital city was quickly completed, and the palace was also restored. Finally, on the 6th day of June in the 23rd year of Jingtai's reign, Xiao Wuji's coronation ceremony began. The whole city of Shangjing was ablaze with splendor, and the palace was filled with red lanterns. Xiao Wuji wore a 9-dragon robe and a purple gold flat crown. Slowly walking up to the 9 dragons platform of the imperial palace. On the 9 dragons platform is a 9-foot-tall cauldron. The flames in the cauldron are blazing, and the hot fire rises into the sky. Under the 9 dragons platform are Xiao Tian's and hundreds of civil and military officials controlled by Xiao Wuji, and honorable family heads. They all looked at Xiao Wuji on the 9 dragons platform with awe. On this day, Xiao Wuji led all the civil and military officials to declare to heaven and earth, founded the country and proclaimed himself emperor. He changed the name of the country to Tiankai and the reign name of Yuanwu. Emperor Yuanwu. The enthronement matters were complicated, and the ceremony lasted from morning to evening. Historical records indicate that on the 6th day of the 6th lunar month in the first year of Tiankai, Taizhu Yuanwu Emperor Xiao Zhantian ascended the throne. This was the beginning of the prosperous age of Tiankai. The news spread throughout Daliang and spread out. Daliang, spread throughout the world. Everyone in the world knows that Daliang is completely dead. In the future, there will be only Tiankai and no Daliang. Tiankai, Emperor Yuanwu, this person finally became the king of a country. Jinling, the imperial city of the great Zhou dynasty, Deluo Hall of the imperial palace. After reading the information sent back by the Jinyue spies, Emperor Jingtai sighed deeply and felt a little powerless. Although Xiao Zhantian is the new king of a country, his intimidation power is better than his. The emperor in 23 years was much stronger. Although Tiankai had just established his country and his national power was not as powerful as that of Zhou dynasty, no one dared to provoke Tiankai. None of the 4 major countries in the world dared to go to war with Tiankai. Everything happened because of Tiankai Yuan. Emperor Wu Xiao Zhantian was not only the king of a country, but also a top warrior who combined nature and man. Naturally, Emperor Jingtai was envious of the glorious Yuanwu Emperor Xiao Zhantian. Although he was the king of a country, the real achievements of the great Zhou dynasty, the masters, are the old men Xiao Luxian and Xiao Aishi. Unlike Xiao Zhantian, the entire Tiankai is his one word. You can do whatever you want, no one can restrain you. How is the mission prepared? Emperor Jingtai looked at Xia Yongxuan, the commander of the Jinyi guards next to him, and asked. Already prepared. Xia Yongxuan said respectfully, as soon as His Majesty's decree comes, the mission can set off and be jointly escorted by the Forbidden Army and the Jinyi guards. Let's increase the gifts sent to Apocalypse by another 30%. Emperor Jingtai said. Emperor Xiao Zhantian of Yuanwu also has a deep feud with the demon sect's rebels. Our ancestor has issued a decree, ordering me, Dezhou, to form an alliance with Xiao Zhantian to fight against the demon section. Xia Yongxuan was shocked when he learned that it was the ancestor of the royal family who personally issued the order. He quickly bowed his head respectfully. Yes, I obey the order. Besides, Emperor Jingtai suddenly thought of something. He looked at Xia Yongxuan and said, I want to select a noble girl of the right age from the clan. I want to marry Tiankai and make friends with Qin and Jin. Wait for suitable candidates to be selected and send them to Tiankai. Yes, I obey the order. Okay, go ahead. Emperor Jingtai waved his hand, signaling Xia Yongxuan to step back. Wei Chen resigned. Underscore. Underscore. Underscore the power of cutting the sky. The children of the royal family are born with high status, high above them, and enjoy all the glory and wealth. But everything has a price. Their marriage affairs are often not allowed to be decided by themselves. Even the high-ranking princess must fight for the interests of the country. If you marry another country, you will have no hope of returning to your homeland for the rest of your life. Marriage between countries has existed since ancient times, and the princess is the victim of the marriage. In the main hall of the Yan Palace, Emperor Yan made the same choice as Emperor Jingtai. In order to celebrate the founding of the apocalypse, Emperor Yuanwu Xiao Zhantian ascended the throne. After proclaiming himself emperor, Dian sent an envoy to deliver congratulatory gifts and the marriage of the two princesses to Xiao Zhantian. One of them was to resolve the hatred between the two countries. After all, not long ago, the Yan kingdom sent troops to invade the territory of Tiankai. This time, the gift was given just to eliminate the hatred in Xiao Zhantian's heart. Obviously Emperor Yan already knew Xiao Zhantian's strength, and also knew that Xiao Zhantian had single-handedly entered the Daliang Palace and took off the head of Emperor Xiao Duo. He didn't want to become the second Liang emperor. The second one was naturally to form an alliance with Tiankai. Emperor Yan planted spies in Dezhou, and he finally learned from the information sent back by the spies that Dezhou wanted to form an alliance with Tianqi. This was something Emperor Yan did not want to see. The Great Zhou dynasty is the strongest among the 4 countries in the world. Although Emperor Jingtai has been ignorant for many years, which has weakened the Great Zhou dynasty a lot, the Great Zhou dynasty is still the strongest country in the world. If the Great Zhou dynasty forms an alliance with Tiankai, then the Yan kingdom is in danger. Therefore, whether it is for Great Yan or for himself, it is necessary to have a good relationship with Emperor Yuanwu Xiao Zhantian. In addition to Great Zhou and Dian, some small countries have also sent envoys to Tiankai to assist Xiao Zhan. It is a gift from heaven. It is difficult for small countries like them to survive, and they have to rely on big countries to survive. Emperor Xiao Zhantian of Yuanwu, a peerless emperor who came out of nowhere, put a lot of pressure on these small countries. Therefore, these small countries have to survive in the shortest possible time. They collected what they considered to be the most precious treasures and the most stunning beauties, and sent them to Tiankai to honor Xiao Zhantian. Among all the countries in the world, the only one who did not give gifts was Yeqin. Of course, it was not that Yeqin did not want to give them, but that they did. No. Because there is no border between Yeqin and Apocalypse, if Yeqin wanted to send gifts to Xiao Zhantian, the envoy would have to pass through Great Zhou or Great Yan, which is impossible. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 397. Ding, it was detected that the host massacred the Xiao royal family in Nanliang and Daliang was destroyed. The blood for blood mission has been completed. Do you want to receive the reward? In the Yunli Hall of Tiankai Palace, Xiao Wuji was practicing kung fu with his eyes closed. Suddenly, the system's electronic sound sounded in his mind. Is it finally done? Xiao Wuji slowly opened his eyes. The blood for blood mission requires that all the blood of the Xiao royal family in Daliang be washed away. Only if no one is left behind can the mission be completed. The difficulty of this task lies in not leaving anyone behind. The Xiao royal family rules over hundreds of people in Daliang. Years ago, there were more than 100,000 people with blood in the whole clan. It is not easy to find out all of them and eradicate them. Fortunately, Xiao Zantian's reputation is enough. No force in Daliang rivers and lakes dares to harbor the Daliang Xiao family bloodline. Coupled with the fact that Kishala killers were pursuing them with all their strength, as well as arrest warrants, it took several months to finally kill all the Xiao family's royal bloodline. System, receive rewards. Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining the full-level Suanwu True skill. The rewards are being distributed and have been completed. Boom. A huge message poured into Xiao Wuji's mind. This message was so huge that ordinary warriors could not receive it. They were afraid that their brains would be exploded and their spirits would collapse. 310. But Xiao Wuji's the power of the Yuan Shen is already very powerful. In the sea of consciousness between the eyebrows, while the Yuan Shen is sitting cross-legged, all the messages are received and digested without any pressure. Suanwu Zhenqing, from the world of Fenjian Jiao, is the top 10 martial arts of Wu. Invincible General. The self-created martial arts is composed of the top 10 martial arts external skills and Suanwu internal skills. The top 10 martial arts are Yi Dao Wu Duo Dao Technique, 2 Spears Wenshan Spear Art, 3 Swords Destiny Kendo, 4 Halberds Dai Halberd Pu, 5 Set of Sticks, Tigers and Roaring Sticks, 6 Fists of Shanhaiquan Sutra, 7 Palms of Suanwu Divine Palm, 8 Legs of Powerful Legs, 9 Round Golden Fingers, 10 Claws of Oracle Bone and Dragon Claws. Fusion of swords, guns, swords, halberds and sticks, fists, palms, legs, fingers and claws of 10. The Suanwu True Kung Fu, the peerless martial arts in the sect, can be said to be all-encompassing and extremely mysterious. In the sea of consciousness between Xiao Wuji's brows, the villain Yuan Shen suddenly opened his eyes. As his mind moved, 10 villains suddenly appeared around the sea of consciousness, practicing martial arts at the same time. This villain is practicing different martial arts, and it is surprisingly one of the top 10 martial arts of Suanwu True Kung Fu. Each of these 10 martial arts is no weaker than the 3 ultimate magic kung fu or the 6 Ao Hanju. The top 10 martial arts are all mastered. After that, you can understand the advanced moves of the top 10 martial arts: invincible in 10 directions, the killing move kill in all directions, and the killing move destroy in all directions. There are also the strongest secrets of the 10 strongest ways and the true power of Suanwu. Wuxian Sword and Tiger Technique. Under the indoctrination of the system, all the mysteries of the Suanwu True Kung Fu were quickly absorbed and fused by Xiao Wuji. Xiao Wuji's understanding of the Suanwu True Kung Fu instantly reached the full level. Of course, Xiao Wuji's current martial arts realm has already reached the peak level. Peak. Obtaining the Suanwu True skill, top pairing allows him to add more changes to his moves and improve his fighting skills. Although his combat power has improved, there is no qualitative change. He wants to break through from the half-step void to the realm of broken void. Is a qualitative change. Not only are there requirements for recruitment and skills, but also the power of the soul and the control of the power of heaven and earth. There is no guidance from the method, and there is no experience from the predecessors for Xiao Wuji to learn from. Xiao Wuji is now trapped. Taking this last step, he cannot take another half step forward. But Xiao Wuji is not in a hurry. Anyway, Now that he has profound skills and greatly extended his lifespan, he has plenty of time. Everything has its limits, and the same is true for the path of martial arts. Although there is no method to guide, there is no reference from the experience of his predecessors. But Xiao Wuji believes that quantitative changes lead to qualitative changes. As long as he learns enough magical skills and masters enough skills, his control over the power of heaven and earth will become stronger and stronger. One day, he will be able to break through the shackles and reach the level of a higher realm. The day when I break through is not far away. Xiao Wuji looked up at the sky and whispered in his heart. Time turned and another month passed. In a Jinyue stronghold in Shangjing City, Xiao Wuji had changed back to his original appearance and met up with the fourth Taibao Sima Lang and others. No one could have imagined that the Xiao Wuji in front of him is Xiao Zhantian, Emperor Yuanwu of Tiankai. Xiao Wuji looked at everyone and said, "Third brother sent a message. I, Das Hu, have sent an envoy to send a princess who wants to marry Tiankai. Both of them are from Qin and Jin dynasties. Good. Our next task is to secretly protect the mission and ensure the successful marriage between the two countries." Sima Lang nodded slightly and said, "Understood." Xiao Wuji smiled a little in his heart. He didn't expect that just after he founded the country and proclaimed himself emperor, the Zhou dynasty sent a princess to marry him. The aloof princess was no different from ordinary goods at this moment. "Fourth brother, after this matter is over, third brother will definitely call me back, and then all affairs of Tiankai will be left to you." Sima Lang laughed. "It's too early for my 13th brother to say this. The apocalypse is newly established and everything is unstable. It is the center of the whirlpool in the world. This place needs a great master like 13th brother to guard it. If possible, fourth brother would like to return to Jinling. You also know that fourth brother, I have been guarding Shangjing City for more than 8 years. The journey can take at least half a year, and at most, I can only return to Jinling once a year. As time went by, my son no longer recognized me. Every time you go back, your sister-in-law sheds tears. Fourth brother, I really can't bear it." Having said this, Sima Lang shook his head and sighed, looking very tired. "I would like to take this opportunity to hand over the affairs of Shangjing City to you. What do you think?" Sima Lang looked at Xiao Wuji and asked. "No, no, how can this be possible?" Xiao Wuji shook his head repeatedly. "Why not?" Sima Lang said, "The greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. The 13 Taibao are stationed in various places. For a foreign imperial city like Shangjing, a great master should have been sent to take charge. In the past, Jinyue was short of manpower, so fourth brother and I were forced to take over. Now that the 13th brother is strong enough, the fourth brother, but it's time to abdicate and make way for someone more worthy. Don't worry, I'll discuss this matter with third brother and the commander. I'm sure the commander won't refuse." After saying that, Sima Lang turned around and left. Xiao Wuji felt a little funny in his heart. Shangjing City was already under his control. If even Jinyue's intelligence network was completely controlled by Xiao Wuji, then the news sent back to Dazhu would be its interesting. Whatever news Xiao Wuji wants to send back, he can send back whatever news he wants. Dezhou will become blind and deaf to Tiankai. But think about it, Xiao Wuji, I think this is a good thing. Although his true identity has not yet been exposed, he is now the king of a country. He can't go back to Dezhou to be a small royal guard for thousands of households, right? Although the identity of 13 Taibao is still somewhat useful, but it actually has no impact on the overall situation. Zero. Forget it, let's take it one step at a time. Xiao Wuji smiled slightly. The southern border of the Great Zhou dynasty, Black Eagle City. A guard walked out of the gate of Black Eagle City, stepped into the border junction between the two countries, and headed towards Tiankai. This guard was sent to Tiankai by the Great Zhou the marriage mission. Behind the guard, under the city gate, Huainan King Xia Yuanxiang personally saw off the mission. Not only that, Xia Yuanxiang also specially sent a team of 1,000 people to join the escort mission. A team of 1,000 people plus the original 1,000 people. The mission is guarded by imperial guards. The escort strength of this mission has reached up to 2,000 people. The Kingdom of Apocalypse has undergone great changes. Not long ago, the Emperor sent our army to invade Apocalypse, but now he is sending an envoy to arrange a marriage and a generous dowry. Things are really unpredictable. Xia Yuanxiang, the king of Huainan, couldn't help but shook his head. A soldier next to him said, according to the information we received, Dian also sent a marriage mission to marry Emperor Yuanwu, and Dian sent 2 princesses at the same time. Huainan Wang Xia Yuanxiang nodded solemnly and said, this marriage is related to the overall situation of our Zhou dynasty and Tiankai in the next 100 years, and we will never allow any mistakes. Dian also didn't want to see me, Das Hu, marry Tiankai and threaten them, so he wanted to be one step ahead of us. Will they secretly sabotage the marriage? The soldiers were a little worried. Xia Yuanxiang put his hands behind his back and said coldly, with the strength of Dian, he does not dare to blatantly destroy the marriage between Great Zhou and Tiankai. Even if they want to attack the mission, they don't have the strength. What I am worried about is another force. Xia Yuanxiang looked at the direction of the mission from a distance, frowning, and did not leave until the mission disappeared on the horizon. 1.5 The Zhou dynasty and the pro-envoys went deep into the wasteland at the border junction of the 2 countries. Now that the 2 countries have ceased war, the Zhou dynasty envoy, the regiment, was not here to declare war. It was originally safe. But suddenly, a strong wind blew up in the wilderness. A mist came from the depths of the wilderness. Yellow sand filled the air, and the horses were frightened and neighed. 2,000 legion guards. The soldiers were also shocked. No, there's an enemy attack. Everyone, calm down, no chaos, open the battle formation. The generals of the mission raised their voices and roared. The voice was genuine. The news spread everywhere, ringing in the ears of every soldier. The legion guards, whether they were the Forbidden Army or the Black Eagle Army, were well-trained veterans of many battles. They quickly calmed down and set up their battle formations, preparing to face the enemy. 2,000 soldiers formed a circle, with shield soldiers outside, then pikemen, then cavalry and archers. The sky is filled with yellow sand and the hoofs of horses are neighing. The 2,000 legion guards were completely silent, not daring to make a sound. There were more than a dozen carriages in the guard center, and 2 people were sitting in one of them. A young woman, wearing a veil, looked to be no more than 20 years old, with a graceful figure and white and smooth skin. She was the princess sent to Tiankai by Zhou dynasty to marry her. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at West Lake. Chapter 398. A young woman, wearing a veil, looked to be no more than 20 years old, with a graceful figure and white and smooth skin. She was the princess sent to Tiankai by Zhou dynasty to marry her. The other one is an old woman with half black and half white hair. Something unexpected happened, and the princess was already frightened. Her pretty face turned pale, her lips kept trembling, and there was no trace of blood on her face. "Aunt Zhu, what's going on? Are there some gangsters who robbed the mission? What should we do?" The princess held the old woman's hand, which was cold and without any warmth. The old woman opened her eyes, patted the princess's little hand, and said with a smile, "Don't worry, princess, there are 2,000 mission guards outside to protect the princess, she will be fine. Besides, I'm still here, princess, don't worry." After listening to the old woman's words, the princess nodded, and the fright in her heart dissipated a lot. In addition to the 2,000 missionary guards who protected her and her bride this time, the most important one was the old woman. The princess didn't know that the old woman. What is the specific name of the woman? I only know that her surname is Zhu. She is a real Grand Master who is worshipped by the royal family. Even the royal family must respect the powerful Grand Master, so the princess calls her Aunt Zhu. There are 2,000 Beizan soldiers outside, and there is a Grand Master inside the carriage. This kind of protective power is rare in the world, and it is comparable to the full strength of a martial arts sect. On the wasteland, 2,000 legion guards prepared for war. The 2,000 soldiers were extremely focused and looked ahead to ensure that any clues would be discovered immediately. And at this moment, a strange laughter suddenly sounded. G. 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 The strange laughter spread from far to near. It was almost as quiet as the sound at first, but soon it spread to all directions and exploded in the ears of 2,000 soldiers. The general of the mission immediately roared, "Where are the rats, hiding their heads and showing their tails? What kind of hero is he? He has the ability to come out and fight to the death with this general. I am Luo Qinji, deputy commander of the Forbidden Army of the Great Zhou Dynasty, escorting the marriage delegation to Tiankai, and the marriage between the two countries. Rats need to know that destroying the peace between the two countries is a major crime against the 9 tribes. I would like to advise you all here not to test the law with your own body and risk your life in vain." Luo Qinji's voice boomed, full of majesty and awe. He wanted to use the power of Zhou and Tiankai to scare away the thieves in the dark. The purpose of Luo Qinji's trip was to send the princess to Tiankai for marriage, so the princess's safety was the most important. If there is no fight, there will be no fight. If the thieves in the dark listen to the advice and retreat on their own, they will have less trouble. However, in the face of Luo Qinji's threat, the strange laughter around them not only did not disappear, but became more unscrupulous. GGG. Das Hu. Apocalypse. It sounds very powerful, but I don't take it seriously. Ants, it's time to hit the road. The voice of the last sentence was low and cold, making people feel horrified and chilled all over. The moment the voice fell, an invisible force of true energy burst out, forming an invisible ripple and rushing towards the Legion Guards. There were 2,000 Legion Guards. There were many people, but only the Grand Master in the carriage noticed this ripple, and his expression immediately changed. Not good. The Emperor's uncle immediately deployed a 3-foot air wall to cover and protect himself and the princess. At this moment, ripples of true energy swept over the 2,000 Legion Guards like tsunami waves. The attack was over. But the 2,000 mission guards knew nothing about it. The next breath, Luo Qinji, the deputy commander of the Forbidden Army, instantly opened his eyes. He looked up at the sky, his pupils tightened, the veins on his neck popped out, he gritted his teeth, and his whole body was shaking, as if he was suffering unspeakable pain and fear. Outsiders didn't know it, but Luo Qinji only felt that the scene in front of him changed drastically. He came to a dilapidated villa, with corpses everywhere, flames rising into the sky, and shouts of killing one after another. Kill! Kill them! Not one of them stay! G. 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 We are going to make a fortune tonight. A group of evil men like wolves and tigers rushed into Lujiazhuang, killing everyone on sight, and blood-bathed the entire Lujiazhuang, leaving no one alive. A sea of blazing flames. Among them, stood a little boy of 7 or 8 years old, looking at everything around him with a dull expression. He was Luo Qinji when he was a child. Luo Qinji saw his father being killed, his mother being killed, his brother being killed, and his sister being killed. Father, mother, brother, second sister. Luo Qinji roared and cried, calling out the names of his relatives. However, no one responded to him. A ferocious man with a ferocious face came to Luo Qinji, spat, and then kicked Luo Qinji in the face. Fly out! Luo Qinji fell into the ruins, not knowing whether he was alive or dead. Ah! The moment his consciousness dissipated, Luo Qinji roared, regained his clarity instantly, and then returned to the sea of fire. He looked again at the death of his parents, eldest brother, and second sister. The scene of killing. This is the deepest fear in Luo Qingji's heart, the despair he experienced personally when he was a child. Luo Qingji was born in a small martial arts family, and there is an innate peak martial artist in the family. Although it is not a wealthy family, it is not famous in the world. But at least he had no worries about food and clothing, and could live a wealthy life. However, that night, a group of evil thieves broke into Lujiazhuang, killing everyone on sight, and a bloody massacre the entire Lujiazhuang. Luo Qingji was the only survivor. After that, Luo Qingji worked as a beggar, joined a gang, and worked as a thug, and then went to the frontier to join the army. Because he was not afraid of death, was ruthless enough, and fought bravely enough, he rose through the ranks with military merit. He was transferred to the imperial city of Jinling and promoted to the deputy commander of the imperial army. Although he had achieved great success and honored his ancestors, Luo Qingji always remembered that he still had a great revenge that he had not avenged. He wanted to find the group of thieves who blood-bathed Luo family village and cut them into pieces, to avenge the genocide. Unfortunately, over the years, he has never been able to find any clues about the murderer. Damn it! You all deserve to die. Luo Qingji locked eyes on a big man, roared and rushed forward, but was hacked to death by the big man's backhand. If he were in his heyday, with the strength of the middle stage master, it would be easy to deal with these evil thieves. It's a pity that he is only a 7 or 8-year-old boy now. Without the power to restrain a chicken, facing a big man is tantamount to seeking death. Luo Qingji was hacked to death, but he did not die. His consciousness returned to the sea of fire, and he experienced the despair of genocide again. Again and again, over and over again. Luo Qingji kept seeing his parents, brothers, and sisters being killed, but he could do nothing but rage and hate his own incompetence. Fake, this is fake, this is an illusion. I'm on my way to escort the delegation, not here. Wake up quickly. After experiencing many times of despair, Luo Qingji finally woke up and regained his original intention. He knew that what he was seeing now was what he had experienced when he was a child. He should be escorting the delegation of relatives and relatives now. The reason why he fell into the illusion was obviously secret. Evil thieves are at work. Wake up, wake up. Luo Qingji roared crazily in his heart, and slapped himself in the face over and over again, even rushed into the sea of fire, or drew a knife to commit suicide. However, after death, he was still reborn over and over again, experiencing despair, and could never return to reality. Who is it? Who are you? Get out. What kind of hero is he who hides his head and shows his tail? If you have the ability, come out and fight head-on. Luo Qingji ignored the carnage around him and shouted into the night sky. Soon, a familiar strange laughter came from the night sky. G. It's impossible for you alone to break through the array of inner demons in my heart. You'd better sink in endless despair. G. The laughter fell, and Luo Qingji was hacked to death again. In this way, Luo Qingji continued to sink in the illusion. Time and time again, his heart was finally swallowed by despair. After the last death, Luo Qingji never resurrected. In the illusion, Luo Qingji died a total of 96 times, and it seemed like a long time. But in reality, time only passed for a moment. Luo Qingji just heard a scream, and then his frightened pupils suddenly turned blood red. Blood and tears flowed from his eyes, and blood also flowed from his nose and ears. Finally, he looked up to the sky and screamed, vomiting blood, and died. He fell heavily from the horse to the ground. In this way, Luo Qingji died. A deputy commander of the Forbidden Army, mid-level grandmaster, the master of the battle, was killed without even seeing the enemy. The moment Luo Qingji died, More than 2,000 soldiers of the regiment, servants, maids, and others also died tragically. The appearance of their death was exactly the same as that of Luo Qinji. All of them were Kakiao bled to death, with a look of fear still on his expression, as if he had seen something extremely terrifying before his death. Boom! Suddenly, the carriage exploded. A vast burst of true energy burst out, and two figures burst out of the carriage. Directly he fled towards the distance. The people who appeared were the old woman who was worshipped by the royal family of the Zhou dynasty and the wedding princess. Ah! When the princess saw the dead bodies all around, she was so frightened that her face turned pale and she couldn't help but let out a scream. "Aunt Zhu, what's going on?" The princess was born noble and was well protected by the royal family. She has never seen a dead person, let alone more than 2,000 corpses at the same time. In her opinion, this place is no different from the Shura field in hell. "Princess, the enemy coming this time is very strong, so please be careful." Zhu Gongfeng did not explain too much to the princess. She is now focused on escaping and can no longer care about anything else. Being able to kill more than 2,000 mission guards in such a short period of time is definitely an extremely terrifying strong man. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full level magic system. Author, drunk in March at West Lake. Chapter 399. Zhu Xianfeng believed that she was no match for such a monster, so she could only run away. However, as soon as she made a move, the strange laughter sounded again, and this time the strange laughter was very close to her, as if it was close to her ears. G. 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 Now that you are here, stay. Zhu Gongfeng's back felt cold. Without thinking, he used all his strength and slapped his palm behind him. There was a click, and the sound of broken bones was heard. I saw Zhu Gongfeng slapped his palm, and his hand was immediately twisted. I don't know when. A middle-aged man with an indifferent expression appeared behind her, looking at her and the princess with joking eyes. However, the princess had already fainted from fright and lost consciousness. "You, who are you? Don't you know that robbing the princess and killing the envoys is a major crime against the Nine Clan?" Zhu Gongfeng's arm was severed, but he remained silent, holding back the severe pain and roaring wildly. However, the middle-aged man just chuckled in the face of the threat, and slowly stretched out his right palm and placed it on Zhu Gongfeng's neck. "Go up." This palm was obviously very slow, but Zhu Gongfeng couldn't avoid it. With a click, Zhu Gongfeng's neck was twisted, and a great master was killed like an ant. Plop! Throw Zhu Gongfeng's body away casually. The indifferent middle-aged man grabbed the princess in his hand. The princess's veil fell, revealing her beautiful appearance. But the middle-aged man's face did not change at all. To him, this beautiful appearance was like a red and pink skull, without any trace of it. "This is the place." An indifferent middle-aged man fell from the sky and landed on a carriage. More than 2,000 corpses were scattered around, like the dust under his feet. After a while, the sound of horse hooves was heard in the distance. The earth trembled, smoke and dust rose, and an army the troops came on horseback. When the army came 20 steps away from the middle-aged man, they all stopped. All the soldiers got off their horses, ran to the middle-aged man, knelt down on one knee and saluted, "I see you, Lord Inner Demon." These words undoubtedly reveal the true identity of this indifferent middle-aged man. The Inner Demon is one of the 3 demons of the demon section. The 3 demons, 6 emperors, and 9 guardians of the demon sect have mysterious movements, and the world knows very little about them. Among the 9 guardians, the Inner Demon is the most mysterious. Jianghu only knows 3 words about the Inner Demon: laughing at the world. This is the pseudonym of the Inner Demon. Just like the blood demon Yuquan and the wind demon Chenyi, no one knows the real name of the Inner Demon, and no one knows his age, gender, or appearance. Some people say that the inner demon is an unparalleledly handsome young man who can make women fall in love at first sight and never forget it for life. Some people say that the inner demon is an elegant scholar, is a humble gentleman. Some people say that the inner demon is a ferocious big man with a ferocious look, green face, and fangs. His body is full of muscles, his arms are as thick as an ordinary person's thigh, and a slap can break a person's skull into powder. Some people even say that he is an elegant scholar. It is said that the inner demon is a woman with a voluptuous figure. She is unparalleled in beauty, her breath is like orchid, and she can make countless men die for her with just one look. There are many different opinions about the inner demon in the world, and some are even completely opposite. But there is only one thing the same. That is that inner demons can control people's hearts. Whenever you encounter inner demons, your heart is no longer your own, and your life and death will be controlled by inner demons. The three demons of the demon sect, Blood Mo Yuquan is the strongest, Feng Mo is unparalleled in his instant Qing Gong, while the inner demon is the weirdest and has the most mysterious killing methods. In terms of killing efficiency, the inner demon is the highest among the three demons. He killed 2,000 legion guards in a single thought. You can already see the murderous methods of the inner demon. The inner demon grabbed the unconscious Princess Jo, looked down at the army from a high position, and said calmly, "Act according to the plan." "Yes, I obey." The army soldiers responded in unison. This army is the Suanjia army, carefully cultivated by the demon cult, which is extremely loyal to the Shangguan clan. Each soldier is not only powerful in combat, but also loyal and willing to sacrifice his life for the three clans at any time. The previous two during the National War, Suanzun Shangguan Ao ordered the Suanjia army to dispatch, taking the opportunity to plunder wealth and occupy territory. Unfortunately, Xiao Wuji was too fast and easily quelled the civil strife in Daliang and drove away foreign enemies, leaving the Suanjia army no chance to plunder wealth. The Suanjia army stepped forward, took off the armor and clothes of the legion guards and put on them. In the blink of an eye, the demon cult's 2,000 Suanjia army became the great Zhou envoy guards. As for the comatose princess, she was easily controlled by the inner demon. What the inner demon is best at is manipulating people's hearts. Although he can't puppet the great master on the spot like Xiao Wuji, it couldn't be easier to control a little princess who has never learned martial arts. Everything is ready, and the regiment guards set out again, heading towards Tiankai in a swagger. Stepping into the border of Tiankai, opening the city gate with documents, he entered Tiankai easily, and headed straight to the imperial city of Tiankai. The inner demon did not accompany the mission. With his strength, he can rush to Beijing first. Moreover, he will only control the follow-up actions behind the scenes and will not appear in front of everyone. The inner demon is the most cautious person among the 9 guardians of the demon section generally. The plans he makes are never. He is controlling everything behind the scenes. In this way, even if the plan fails, he will not be exposed, let alone be killed like the Ghost Emperor or the Blood Demon. The Ghost Emperor and the Blood Demon are already cautious enough, but with the inner demon in comparison, it is a lot worse. In Jinling, the imperial city of Tiankai, outside the gate of Shangjing, Tiankai officials handed over to the envoys and welcomed the married princess into the imperial city. 2 people. The 1,000 envoy guards left 1,500 people stationed outside the city, and only 500 people escorted the princess into Shangjing. The marriage envoy Ruhing walked through the main street of Shangjing in a swaggering manner, with people on both sides standing on both sides. "Did you see it? This is the princess sent by Dazhu for marriage. His Majesty the Emperor is so wise and powerful that he licked his face and came to kiss him as soon as he ascended the throne. They must be afraid of His Majesty the Emperor." That's of course. His Majesty the Emperor has extraordinary powers and is considered the number 1 in the world. Of course a mere Zhou dynasty would be afraid of him. I heard that Dian also sent a marriage envoy to marry His Majesty, but they did not leave as fast as Great Zhou, and they are still on the way. Your Majesty's divine power overwhelms the world. From now on, we, Tiankai, will be the most powerful country in the world, and Dezhou will only be ranked second. Ha 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 ha, second child, you are right, Dezhou is just a second child. The people were whispering to each other and talking a lot, showing great respect for the Emperor Xiao Zhantian in their words. All because after Xiao Zhantian came to power, he promulgated a series of benevolent and good policies to appease the people, winning a large number of people's hearts. Not to mention other places in Tiankai, at least the people in Shangjing City have been completely subdued by Xiao Zhantian. 13th brother, that is the marriage mission. Third brother has sent a letter from Flying Eagle, saying that there is a secret agent of our Jin Yaiwei in the mission, and we can contact him by secret code. In a restaurant next to the street, Xiao Wuji, Sima Lang, and other royal guards were watching the mission guards swaggering through the market. Of course, Xiao Wuji here is just an incarnation of heaven and man. Phew! A wisp of breeze blew by, blowing the carriage's tail. The curtain allowed Xiao Wuji to see the princess inside the carriage clearly. Although it was only for a moment, Xiao Wuji could see it extremely clearly. The princess was extremely beautiful, and she was a beautiful woman. If it was offered to him for free, Xiao Wuji would not refuse it. Unfortunately, this princess is already a living dead. Xiao Wuji's sense of the soul is so keen, and coupled with seeing it with his own eyes, he can see the strangeness of the princess at a glance. Her appearance is no different from ordinary people, with a ruddy complexion, delicate skin, and a radiant face. Only however, her eyes had no sparkle at all, her pupils were blurred, and there was no human aura. When ordinary people saw it, they would think that the princess was unwilling to come to the marriage, so she was in a sad mood. But Xiao Wuji could tell at a glance that the princess had been manipulated. Became a living dead, a puppet. And this control method is very crude, far inferior to his soul-moving method. Xiao Wuji uses the soul-moving method to control others, and the controlled person can maintain peak combat power, and his daily life words and deeds are consistent with its the same as before. Even the closest relatives or powerful warriors can't tell the difference. But this person's control methods are extremely crude. Although the princess is controlled, her life is safe, but her words and actions are no longer under her control. Even ordinary people, anyone who has lived with the princess for a long time will be able to see the strangeness in the princess over time. Who took action? Daz, who will definitely not take this opportunity to come, get Jianzhao, to antagonize me. Someone must be instigating it to destroy the marriage alliance between Dazhu and Tiankai. Divorce plan. Two dogs fight, play off. Those who want to be fishermen also have demon sections. A sneer appeared on the corner of Xiao Wuji's mouth. With his mind racing, Xiao Wuji instantly guessed the real culprit behind the scenes. It seems that the demon sect is also anxious and does not want to see Tiankai form an alliance with Dazhu. Xiao Wuji can imagine the sense of urgency in Shangguan Wudao's heart. It is already very difficult for the demon sect to fight against the Great Zhou dynasty, and the restoration of the country is far away. If the Great Zhou dynasty has another Tiankai as an ally, it will be really difficult for the demon sect to restore the country. There was no hope at all. Therefore, it was imperative to destroy the marriage between the two countries. Xiao Wuji used the power of his soul to sweep away the mission guards and confirmed that there were two masters in the mission guards, presumably two of the 36 Tiangang. But there was no such thing. There is no strong master. Didn't the demon sect's protector come? He was as cautious as ever. Xiao Wuji, the cautious guardian of the demon cult, has seen with his own eyes that he has to hide his traces again and again when facing ordinary opponents, not to mention that this time the target of their calculation is Xiao Zhantian. Once their true identity is exposed, they will die without a doubt. So, although Xiao Wuji didn't know who the guardians were this time, he had already expected their caution. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 400. 13th Brother, when should we contact Jinyi Anzi? At this time, Sima Lang's voice sounded in Xiao Wuji's ears again. Xiao Wuji said calmly, I will arrange this matter. The fourth brother's next task is to secretly monitor every move of the mission to ensure the safety of the princess. Sima Lang did not doubt that he was there, nodded and said okay, everything will be listened to by the 13th brother. Among the Jinyi guards, the most capable are superior and the weak are inferior. Strength speaks for itself. Although Xiao Wuji is only the 13th Taibao, his strength is superior to that of Sima Lang. Therefore, Sima Lang does not feel resentful about following Xiao Wuji's orders, but takes it as a matter of course. Imperial Palace, Yunli Palace. Xiao Wuji himself was wearing a 9-dragon robe, leaning on a dragon chair. There were many guards outside the palace, all of whom were well-trained Kishala killers. At this moment, Xiao Tians walked into Yun from outside the palace. Lei Dian saluted Xiao Wuji respectfully. Xiao Tians, my humble minister, comes to see your majesty, long live my emperor. Xiao Wuji glanced at Xiao Tians, raised his hand to help Xiao Tians up, and said with a smile, Master, you and I don't need to be so polite. Xiao Tians shook his head and said etiquette cannot be abolished. Your majesty is the emperor now, so the ministers must respect him. This is the law of the imperial court, and it is also the foundation of our country. If minor ministers take advantage of their connections to rely on their elders and trample on the laws of the court, causing the etiquette and laws of the apocalypse to exist in name only, then the next generation will imitate them. How can we continue the apocalypse? After Xiao Wuji ascended the throne, he named Xiao Tians King Tians. He is the only prince in Tiankai. It can be seen that the emperor does not kneel and carries a sword before him. In Tiankai, he can be said to be one person below 10,000 people. But facing Xiao Wuji, Xiao Tians still remains. They are extremely respectful and must bow their heads every time they see him. The original 7 Kills Tower was changed to the 7 Kills Hall, and all the killers should change their identities as 547 and become the sharp blades of apocalypse to rule the world and suppress lawless people. Xiao Tians is the 7 Kills Hall. The master of the palace has a very fierce reputation in Tiankai, and is on par with Xia Yongxuan, the commander of the Jinyi guards of the Great Zhou dynasty. After all, the current 7 Kills Palace, just like the Jinyi guards of the Great Zhou dynasty, is an institution used by Xiao Wuji to suppress martial artists. Xiao Tians has lived incognito for many years. In the past decades, he had been working in a low-key manner for revenge. Although he became the master of the Tianji Tower of the 7 Kills Hall, he had never gained much fame. Now he came out of the sky and killed many powerful masters. In addition, he had previously bloodbathed the Daliang Palace, and his achievements were outstanding. A few days ago, the Tianji ranking was changed, and Xiao Tians jumped to the 13th position on the Tianji ranking, replacing the original ranking of Xiao Feng, the king of Liangfeiyu. Uncle, what happened to the palace this time? Xiao Wuji looked at Xiao Tians and asked. It's the marriage of Princess Dazhu. Xiao Tians didn't hide anything, and said straight to the point. Now that His Majesty founded the country and ascended the throne, the harem is empty, and there is an urgent need to recruit maidens to enrich the harem and continue the emperor's bloodline. Xiao Tians looked at Xiao Wuji with burning eyes, as if there were flames burning in his eyes, and it looked like Xiao Wuji was speechless. Xiao Tians has lived for more than 80 years, and has been working hard all his life to avenge the genocide. Now the revenge of the genocide has been avenged. The enemy has been destroyed, and the revival of the Xiao family is imminent. It is natural to spread its branches and continue the bloodline. Xiao Tian's biggest wish now is to see Xiao Wuji give birth to 100 or 200 sons, so that the Xiao family's blood can spread all over the world. Xiao Wuji said with a smile, there is no rush to enrich the harem. After all, my true identity has not been exposed yet. Besides, I am in my prime and will have many heirs in the future. Why are you, BBBH, anxious? Having said this, Xiao Wuji smiled teasingly. If the uncle is anxious, he can also marry a wife, take concubines, and have children. Although Xiao Tian's is over 80 years old, he is a powerful master at the peak of his powers, with profound skills and unlimited vitality in his body. His vitality are stronger than those of a 30-year-old young man. Although he looks like a bad old man on the outside, that's because he doesn't want to use his skills to maintain his youthful appearance. If Xiao Tian's is willing, he can easily change from a bad old man to a 30-year-old young man. Xiao Wuji inherited his appearance from Xiao Tiankai, and Xiao Tian's and Xiao Tiankai are brothers, so his appearance was not ugly when he was young. With Xiao Tian's powerful position and appearance, what kind of woman could he not find? Uncle, if you are willing, leave this matter to me. I will take care of it and let your old tree bloom. Xiao Wuji said with a smile. No need, old man, I'll forget it. Xiao Tian's shook his head and said, Old man, I'm already old. I only have a few more years to live, so don't harm other young girls. My family knows their own affairs. In fact, Xiao Tian's has a secret that he has never told Xiao Wuji, that is, his lifespan is not as long as that of other great masters. The reason why Xiao Tian's was able to break through to the peak state of a great master is all thanks to the secret technique Twin Life Gu. This secret technique has great side effects. Xiao Tiankai, who was a child Gu, died young, and his descendants' martial arts skills were extremely poor. Although Xiao Tian's, a mother Gu, succeeded in breaking through to the peak of the Grand Master, he still had poor martial arts skills. The road is cut off, and there is no hope for the realm of heaven and man for life. In addition, Xiao Tian's longevity has also been greatly affected. Although Xiao Tian's is now full of energy and profound skills, he seems to be at his peak. But once the Twin Gu bites back, Xiao Tian's vitality will dissipate in the shortest time. Let's put it this way, Xiao Tian's has only a few years to live. Under this situation, coupled with the age of more than 80 years old, Xiao Tian's naturally has no intention of marrying a wife and concubinage. After all, not every old man is as cheeky as Tianji. At this age, it is normal to be devoid of desires. Wuji, Dezhou, and his princess have arrived. When do you plan to take her into the palace? Xiao Tian's turned the topic back to Xiao Wuji. Xiao Wuji said lightly, just follow the old rules of the royal family and send him to the palace after inspection. Xiao Tian's face showed joy. Okay, let's do it. After saying that, Xiao Tian's left in a hurry. He wanted to keep an eye on this matter personally. There is nothing more important now than letting Xiao Wuji continue the family line, giving birth to heirs, and letting the Xiao family flourish. Looking at Xiao Tian's leaving figure, Xiao Wuji shook his head slightly. This matter is destined to disappoint the uncle. This marriage is destined to fail. After all, the princess is already a living dead. The reason why Xiao Wuji wants the princess to enter the palace is naturally not because of sex, but because he wants to see, what is the demon sect's next move. Sitting and waiting for death is not his style. As long as the demon sect is allowed to take action first, he will have the opportunity to strike first and turn defense into offense. In the Apocalypse dynasty, the imperial city was on the bank of a large river outside the capital city. There was an old man fishing here. The old man wore a bamboo hat and tattered linen clothes with gray hair. He was smoking a dry cigarette in his hand. Suddenly, the fishing rod moved. The old man lifted the fishing rod and flicked it, and he caught the heavy grass carp out of the water and put it into the fish basket next to him. There were already 7 or 8 big fish in the fish basket, and it was obvious that the harvest was good today. One fish took the bait, and the old man rebaited and fished again. Suddenly, the sound of breaking wind sounded. With a whoosh, a figure appeared behind the old man. The man was wearing a mask with a ghost face, and his face could not be seen clearly. He was exuding chills and was intimidating. The man with the ghost face came behind the old fisherman and knelt down on one knee. He saluted and said respectfully, "I see you, Lord Inner Demon." No one would have thought that the old man fishing by the river would be the famous protector of the demon. Section: The Inner Demon laughs at the world. Last time when 2,000 mission guards were massacred, the inner demon appeared in the form of a middle-aged man, with terrifying coercion and domineering cruelty. But this time, he appeared like an old fisherman. He was old and coughed from time to time when smoking a dry cigarette. There was no aura of a strong man in his body. Anyone who saw it would think that this was an ordinary old fishing man. No one would associate the old fishing man with the inner demon who laughed at the world as the protector of the demon sect. But this is the brilliance of the inner demon. The inner demon is the most mysterious among the 9 protectors of the demon section. Not only can he control people's hearts, but he is also very good at disguise. People in Jianghu think that the inner demons are young people, middle-aged people, old people, and even women. In fact, they are right. Because those people are all inner demons. Even within the demon sect, only a few people, including the leader of the demon cult, Shangguan Wudao, Suanzun Shangguan Ao, and the blood demon Yuquan, have seen the true face of the inner demon. Now that Shangguan Ao and the blood demon have both fallen, there are even fewer people who know the true face of the inner demon. "What do you want from me?" The inner demon spoke, and his voice was harsh and cold, not at all as old as the old fisherman. The ghost-faced man behind him said respectfully, "There is news from the palace that Emperor Yuan Wuxia Zhantian summoned Princess Zhou to the palace tonight." As soon as he said this, the inner demon's cloudy eyes suddenly lit up. "I know, let's inform them and let them act according to the plan." "Yes, I obey." The ghost-faced man responded respectfully and disappeared with a whoosh. Only the inner demon was left by the river. He stood up slowly, his hunched figure suddenly stood upright, and there was a cracking sound of bones rubbing in his body. The whole body the man rose 3 feet taller at a speed visible to the naked eye. The aging aura on his body disappeared in an instant, replaced by majesty, domineering, cruelty and murderous aura. "Xiao Zhantian, this is the first time you and I have played chess. I hope you can appreciate the gift I gave you." The inner demon turned around and looked at the direction of the capital behind him from a distance, with a cold light flashing in his eyes. The inner demon was extremely afraid of Xiao Zhantian's strength. Of course he did not dare to face Xiao Zhantian head-on, or even dare to approach Shang Jingqing.